I'm going to read out this quote by Isiah Thomas that he had on Draymond Green's podcast. I hope this doesn't upset you. Before Kevin Durant arrived in Golden State, y'all were on the verge of being remembered as the team that went 73-9 and lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the finals. You were up 3-1, and it probably was one of the biggest collapses in NBA history. Kevin Durant comes that summer and really saves y'all's basketball legacy. You win 2 championships after that. The Golden State Warriors dynasty that you are going to go into the Hall of Fame, own, and everything else. It is cemented because if Durant don't come that summer and you guys are remembered as the 73-9 team, all of your legacies are different. So first thing I have to say, I do agree with not Draymond Green. I meant to say I do agree with Isiah Thomas. What he said is absolutely correct. And Draymond Green did admit to it that Kevin Durant deserves a lot of credit for helping them get 2 more championships with him. So he gave him that respect. But you could see Draymond kind of did it begrudgingly if you watch that interview. He wasn't too thrilled to give Kevin props, but he did. So that also confirms how important Kevin Durant was to the Warriors championships during that run. But Isiah, like I said, is 100% correct. I felt that after the Warriors lost that series that they were done, they were cooked. I have to say I was happy about it because I didn't like the Warriors style of basketball. I hated their 3-point shooting. And the reason why I hated it so much is because the league was copying it. And I felt the Warriors had to lose to stop the league from having a bunch of copycats. That was one of the biggest reasons why I was rooting for the Cavs to win the series. And no, I'm definitely not a LeBron fan. I've never liked LeBron. I acknowledge him as a great player, so I'm not a fan of his, just to let you know. But I was rooting for the Cavs to win that series in hopes that the Warriors would lose and it would put an end to their style of basketball, at least in the league, copying it, just because we have had so many copycats because of their winning ways. Everybody wanted to copy their style and thought they could run their own gimmicky version of it, which hasn't proven to be successful to me because if you look at any of the teams that have won titles outside of the Warriors in the last several years, they didn't play that type of ball. But it really sucked in the sense that the Warriors have shaped up what the league is today, really, for the most part. Just is a bunch of 3-point chunking. Granted, the Warriors are great at it because they were efficient. I should say great in the past tense. But that's why I was rooting for the Cavs to win that series. And I thought, yes, the Cavs beat them. They blew that 3-1 lead. This team is done forever. Mentally, they're not going to come back from this. I really did believe they wouldn't mentally come back from it because there's so many times in NBA history after a team suffers a traumatic moment like that, such as blowing a 3-1 lead or just losing in a way like losing at the buzzer like the Cavs did against Jordan in 89, I believe, when he hit that shot on Elo, or just the Jordan game winner against the Jazz in 98, or the Robert Horry shot against the Kings in 2002, that those teams never bounced back from that they just never came back from losing the way they did. It was just too much to overcome mentally. So usually in NBA history, when you lose in an embarrassing fashion, usually you don't come back from that. And I felt that the Warriors were broken mentally, that they would never be able to overcome what LeBron did to them, and that the Cavs were in their head. I didn't even think they were going to get out of the West the next year. To be honest, they kept their team together. They would be a good team that can get you 50-some wins per year. That's what I believed. But I thought the league would figure out pretty much how to compete with them and contain them for the most part after what the Cavs did to them, after how the Cavs handled them. Teams would copy what the Cavs did against them because that's what always happens when a team loses in the playoffs. The next season, teams see what happened in the playoffs and they try to exploit them during the regular season. That's just how it goes. So I thought the Warriors were done pretty much forever and that they were going to be a one-hit wonder. Then Kevin Durant made his bitch-ass move to join them. And I say it's a bitch move. To me, it was equivalent of Tim Duncan. It would have been the equivalent of if Tim Duncan decided to join up with the Lakers after losing to them in 2002. Can you imagine if Tim joined the Lakers, what that would have been like? Tim, Shaq, and Kobe. it would have been so unfair for the league that there would have been no point in watching the games at all, and just even watching the playoffs, because you know who's going to win from start to finish. It's just not even competitive. And I felt that was the case with Kevin Durant when he joined the Warriors. It just wasn't competitive. Granted, I felt the Spurs could have beaten them in 2017 if Zaza didn't do that cheap move that he did to Kawhi that ruined any chance of a possible upset. But it was pretty depressing to see how I would say the league couldn't challenge them during those few years when they were at full strength, really, for the most part. Kevin Durant played a huge role in making that I would say the least fun era I've seen in my life when it comes to the NBA. And I've been watching the league since the early 90s, but that was my least favorite era, I would say, him on that Warriors team. I do definitely believe without him, they would have been a one-hit wonder, a team that would have won probably 50-some games consistently, but can never get over the hump again because teams would know how to take them out and guard the Draymond, Steph Curry, like high screen tactics that he used, that they were starting to figure it out. So I thought Kevin Durant extended their championship lifespan by a huge margin. And I think even they don't win 2022 without what occurred during those 2 years of Durant, because I think that allowed them to get their confidence back and their mojo back to believe in themselves. And I don't think they would have gotten it back without Durant. Also, I just think that they benefited like big time from Durant, just more than people give Durant credit for in that regard. Just I think 22 just masks it that they won without him, but that title to me was very fluky, and they'll never win another title again the way I look at it. But history won't look at Durant favorably now because of the Warriors winning 2022, but definitely believe without him they don't win in 2018 and 2017. I definitely believe they would have lost to the Spurs in 2017 without him. Granted, if Zaza doesn't take out Kawhi, they definitely go down to the Spurs. And then in 2018, if they didn't have him, the Rockets would have beaten them. So, yeah, he deserves a lot more credit for what he did for them, but he'll never get it. And I can't say I feel bad for him because I don't think he has competitive spirit that a true great player should have. Just to be honest, a true all-time great. I think the one question, I just wonder, why doesn't anybody ever ask Kevin Durant this question? To me, it always surprises me, but the Thunder pushed the Warriors to 7 games back in the 2016 playoffs. They pushed them to 7 games in the 2016 playoffs. I meant to say that why didn't he just decide to sign with the Thunder for another year to re-up the rematch? I think any competitive player with a huge competitive drive would want a rematch in a series that close. The Thunder should have beaten them. They blew a 3-1 lead, but Durant folded like a bitch, essentially, and ran towards them. I would just ask him that question. Like, you could have beaten them in 2016. Why didn't you believe in yourself that you couldn't beat them the next year if you ran it back? I think that would be a good question. Someone should ask Durant that question. I wonder if someone will. For some reason, no one asked him that question, to be honest. So I think that would be an interesting question to ask to Durant. That's all I have to say.